Good morning, brother. This is Ray. I hope you have a good Sabbath today. I want to speak today about the beginning of the Sabbath in the extreme northern and southern regions. And all scriptures are going to be quoted from the Faithful Version in its original order, Bible, and some from the King James Version. But before we get into that, we're going to listen to a lovely hymn, and we shall return in a few minutes. And thank you for listening.
Our God is our fortress, our strength in times of need. He is our salvation. He cares for His sheep. Our King and brother Jesus, who came down from above, paid the price for man's sin, because of God's love. The wicked shall be ashes under the saints' feet, when the angels gather all of His sheep. The dead in Christ shall rise. They shall shine bright like the stars. They will live forever in God's love. Rejoice and be happy. Let joy rule your hearts, for Christ will not forget us. His word tells us so. God's word is true. God's word is life. Rejoice and be happy, because of God's love. When Christ shall return, peace shall abound. When we're in His kingdom, no evil shall be found. Rejoice and stay faithful to Christ us from above. We shall see His face, because of God's love. We shall see His face, because of God's love.
Brother, that was such a lovely song, God's Love. And that song was written based on Psalm 51. And it's a good song. It has a lot of spiritual meaning to it when you apply it, think about it, and read Psalm 51. Anyway, beginning of the Sabbath in the extreme northern and southern regions. And regarding his Sabbath, God commands that they be observed from evening to evening. And you can find it in Leviticus 23:32. Throughout biblical times, this was the way of determining the beginning and ending of days. And that's in Exodus 12:18. In the Bible, evening began when the sun went down. You can turn your Bibles to Joshua 8:29 and 2 Chronicles 18:34, Nehemiah 13:19 as a form of reference for that. And at which time a new day began. In New Testament times, days were calculated the same way. And Mark 1:32 records that after the sun had set, marking the end of the Sabbath, crowds brought many ailing people to Jesus to be healed, having waited until after the Sabbath had ended to come to him. The gospel accounts also record that Joseph of Arimathea entombed Jesus' body before evening to avoid any conflict with an approaching annual Sabbath. You can read that in Matthew 27:57 through 60, Mark 15:42 through 46, Luke 23:20 through 54. God, creator of the Sabbath, determines when the Sabbath day begins and ends. Internal evidence shows that the Sabbath was observed from sunset to sunset throughout the Bible. Thus, the biblical Sabbath today begins Friday evening at sunset and ends Saturday evening at sunset. Similarly, each of the annual holy days begins the evening before at sunset. And brethren, I'm sure you all know that. But some people listening to this radio message may be new converts and are still learning. So I hope what I'm telling you here sheds more light, more in depth into that. For all areas between the Arctic and Antarctic circles where there is a rising and setting of the sun, a convert should keep the Sabbath from sunset to sunset. Now, for the past 30 years, converts in Alaska have proven that it is possible to live in northern areas and observe the Sabbath from sunset to sunset and maintain their employment. Converts living above the Arctic Circle, that is 66 degrees, 33 minutes north latitude, live in a region where there is no sunset or sunrise for about 3 months in the winter. Similarly, there is no sunset or sunrise for about 3 months in the summer. So there is no specific biblical instruction for people living in such an area. No one in the Church of God can change what God has said. But in extreme situations like this, the church must make some type of administrative recommendations in order to adhere to scriptural principles. It is the view and recommendation that a convert used the time of sunset at the nearest latitude directly south of his or her location where a sunset actually occurs in order to mark the beginning and ending of the Sabbath day. Of course, the same principles will apply to individuals living south of the Antarctic Circle. The Church of God encourages members and converts in those areas, should I say, to use a designated time, such as 6 p.m. to begin the Sabbath and 6 p.m. the next afternoon to end the Sabbath. Now, that is arbitrary, of course, and has no relationship to the biblical designation of sunset beginning the Sabbath. But it is recommended that a convert who lives in an area north of the Arctic Circle observe the Sabbath and the holy days from the sunset time as determined by the nearest latitude directly south of his or her location, where there is actually a sunset. I believe this is more consistent with the biblical designations for the beginning and ending of the Sabbath. So I hope this helps and sheds light and clears up some confusion about beginning of the Sabbath in the extreme northern and southern regions. So brethren, you have a great day, and until next time, bye-bye.